Kinder friends, welcome to week 5. So this week we're going to learn about the song Home on the Range, which has a super complex, interesting, and complicated history. So this song is the state song of Kansas. It's about the history of the American West and the struggles of the people moving from east to west, as well as the working life of a cowboy. The cool thing and the complicated thing about this song is we're not really sure who wrote it. The origins, when this song was created, we're not sure, because back then in the 1800s and some of the early 1900s, songs were passed by word of mouth from use, like the same way I teach you. I teach you by line. That's kind of how songs were passed and learned. By 1939, though, there was a definite melody that had been decided on. There wasn't as much changing going on. So Franklin Delano Roosevelt was elected president, and he said Home on the Range was his favorite song. Because of this, lots of singers started singing it, and it was played on the radio all the time, and it became popular worldwide. Now, because we don't know who the author of this song was, it was treated as a traditional folk song. So what that means is there wasn't anybody earning royalties or money every time that the song was performed or played or used, and you didn't have to ask permission to change it to how you needed it or to perform it. So you're like, why are we learning about a song in Kansas? Well, I found out this song actually ties back to Tempe, Arizona. In 1934, William and Mary Goodwin of Tempe, Arizona, said that they wrote the song, a song called Arizona Home in 1904, that basically uses the same stuff. They just, instead of saying Home on the Range, they said Arizona Home, and that was the only thing that was changed. And they filed a copyright for $500,000 against everyone who had been performing this song and the corporations who had published it. Publishing mean printed it on paper and sold it. Until this case was settled, this song, Home on the Range, could not be played or performed on the radio. The attorney who was defending the music publishers was like, well, the easiest way to get this thrown out and the $500,000 lawsuit would be, which is a lot of money back then. $500,000 is kind of a lot now. I'm pretty sure that's probably $5 or $6 million. I don't know. I should find out. So anyway, he was like, well, the easiest way would be to find out who wrote this song. So he traced a recording made by the folklorist John A. Lubbock in San Antonio, Texas in 1908 of the song. Now, this was in 1908. They said they wrote the song in 1904, so we're not quite all the way back there yet. But this was someone who had basically wrote this book and collected all these cowboy songs and frontier ballads together. Which he wrote in 1910. So this is today the first documented version of this song with the familiar line, Home on the Range. But although this recording suggests that it was an old song that had circulated more widely than the sheet music, which had been published by the Goodwins, these facts did not prove that the song could have been written or could not have been written by the Goodwins in 1904. So that didn't really help them. It did shed some light, but not in the way they wanted. So, and then the lawyer, in his research later, quotes from a statement who said that the doctor had shown him his doctor, Mr. Reese, had shown him a poem called My Home in the West in Kansas in 1873, and had asked for one of his friends, to set it to music. And that's when Dan Kelly composed the tune, and it was played by a Harlem Brothers Orchestra. The lawyer also got a statement from a surviving member of that orchestra confirming that his brother had set this poem to music, and they had performed it and called it Western Home. He found references to the publication in 1874 in a newspaper called the Smith County Pioneer, but he wasn't able to locate a copy of the issue in question, so that didn't help us much. But in response to the claim of authorship of Home on the Range by Emma Race in 1876, the Pioneer had reprinted the poem in that year to prove its authorship by Higley. And this is the earliest proof of this poem would be 1876, as well as the first documented false claim of authorship of this poem as well. This evidence prevented the lawsuit for $500,000 by the couple from Tempe, Arizona, from going to court, as the reprint of the poem is the only known evidence of the publication in 1874, and the 1876 date is often given as the first publication. So you're like, okay, what does that mean? So basically what that means is the Goodwin couple from Tempe, Arizona couldn't have written the song in 1904 if the words to it were published in a newspaper in 1874, which would have been 30 years earlier. So the man, John A. Lomax, that had that book of pioneer songs, believes that this was a folk song that was written by Higley, the man they mentioned. And there's like 1876 is as early as they can make it go because they haven't found anything earlier from it. And that's basically who they think wrote the song, but like they can't ask him. So they're just kind of guessing. So the big question is how did this song spread so far and become associated with so many locations, have so many variations, and have claims of authorship by so many people? So 1874 was when it was first posted in the newspaper, and then you had that woman, Anne Gracie, who said that she wrote it. Oh, sorry, Emma Race, who said that she wrote it, but she didn't, because they're like, oh no, the newspaper like basically reprinted it and was like, oh no, this was our printing from 1874 of of Higley doing the poem. So like that was the first one. And then you had 1904 with the couple from Arizona. It's kind of crazy, right? So this is why they're like, so how did we go all the way from Kansas to Arizona? Because like that's not even a 1-day drive. Well, it's a 1-day drive, but it's like an 18-hour drive, which is not a drive anyone wants to take in a day. Though we do it. We drive to Missouri every year. Actually, no, we go to Oklahoma. No, it's not a 1-day drive. I digress. Anyway, so here's why. The Chisholm Trail is part of the answer. So this was a route that was taken by cattle drivers from southwestern ranching states like Arizona to a railhead in Abilene, Kansas. And this was from 1867 through the 1880s. So when they would drive cattle, basically part of this is would be for like the meat industry. So for the cattle industry, when it was super, super cold, they would bring them to Arizona, New Mexico, and that area, because it doesn't, mostly Arizona, it can get really cold in New Mexico, but they'd bring them to like Arizona where it wasn't as cold for the winter. And then because it got stinking hot here for summer, before summer would happen in the spring, they would drive the cattle all the way back to like Kansas / sometimes stopping in Texas, but they would drive these cattle back and forth like over certain seasons, almost like the snowbirds. So they would leave Arizona when it got hot, and they would come back when it got cold in Kansas. So these songs would be sung in the saloons in Kansas, and they were probably picked up and sung by the cowboys who were there and departing Kansas and driving the cattle. So everywhere they stopped along the way, those songs were sung and heard, so other people picked them up. So you're thinking like Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, maybe Utah, depending on which way they go, like it kind of depends. Colorado, they talked about that a little bit. So this song itself really became, like, it was spread from its point of origin, Kansas, because of the Chisholm Trail. The version that John A. Lomax collected in Texas in 1908 is actually different, just a little different from the original poem from Higley in Kansas. It had, in that it had additional verses. Some of them that Higley wrote weren't there, and the refrain was slightly different. And these variations are often the result of a song having entered their oral tradition, which means being not written down and passed by your mouth. So that means passed from one singer to another orally with little use of writing, because back then a lot of people couldn't write. So the original authorship of the song is usually forgotten when this happens, which kind of stinks because it's nice to know where these songs come from. It's like the mystery side of music. People may improvise their own verses when it's oral like that because they don't know the words. if they forget the words, they can't just like look it up. They're like, oh, I'm just gonna make something up, and then that ends up sticking. Or they may add additions, and they can get passed on that way and change. It's like when you play the telephone game where you whisper something in someone's ear and you go around the whole circle and you hear how different it is when you get back. So over time, a song in an oral tradition can vary a lot. And because of that, it becomes difficult to trace back to the earliest known version of the song. And singers have to assume that they may assume that the location where they learned the song is the place of origin. So when people learn that song in Texas, they probably thought it was written in Texas, when really it was written in Kansas. The same thing for maybe Arizona, which is why the Arizona couple, the Grishoms, were like, oh no, yeah, we wrote this song. They may have heard it from someone and wrote it down. Like, who knows? So in 1947, though, On the Song became the state song of Kansas because it did originate in Kansas, which is as far back as they have been able to trace it. So, we are going to learn the song now. So we're only going to learn the first verse and the refrain. I say, you say. I say, oh, give me a home. You say, ready, go. Oh, give me a home. I say, where the buffalo roam. You say, ready, go. Where the buffalo roam. I say, ready, go. I don't need a ready, go. Where the deer and the antelope play. Your turn, ready, go. Where the deer and the antelope play. My turn, where seldom is heard. Your turn, where seldom is heard. My turn, a discouraging word. Your turn, ready, go. A discouraging word. My turn. And the skies are not cloudy all day. Your turn. Ready, go. And the skies are not cloudy all day. Right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to sing, and then you're going to sing, and we're going to go by the chunks that we just did. Right, so I sing, you sing. Oh, give me a home. You sing. Oh, give me a home. I sing. Where the buffalo roam. You sing. Where the buffalo roam. I sing. Where the deer and the antelope play. You sing. Where the deer and the antelope play. Alright, let's do that whole line together. Well, I'm going to sing the whole line, you sing the whole line, okay? This is us learning orally by mouth. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam and the deer and the antelope play. All right, you're going to sing that line now. Here we go. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play. Cool, so let's do the next line. This is the same melody, just different words. So, I sing, where seldom is heard. You sing, where seldom is heard. I sing, a discouraging word. You sing, a discouraging word. I sing, and the skies are not cloudy all day. All right, you sing. And the skies are not cloudy all day. All right, let's sing that line. I'll sing the whole line, then you sing it. Where seldom is heard the discouraging word. together. I'll sing both lines and then you can sing both lines with me. Oh, give me a home with a buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. All right, your turn. Ready? Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Cool. Let's learn the refrain, which is kind of like the chorus in this song. All right, same thing, just words first. So, home, home on the range. Your turn. Home, home on the range. My turn. Where the deer and the antelope play. Hey, we already know that part. Your turn. Where the deer and the antelope play. My turn. Where seldom is heard. Your turn. Where seldom is heard. My turn. A discouraging word. Your turn. A discouraging word. My turn. And the skies are not cloudy all day. Your turn. And the skies are not cloudy all day. So we already know the where seldom is heard line because we've definitely done that before. All right, so let's just learn the refrain part that we don't know. So, I sing, you sing. Home, home on the range. You sing. Home, home on the range. I sing. Where the deer and the antelope play. You sing. Where the deer and the antelope play. I sing. Where seldom is heard. You sing. Where seldom is heard. I sing. A discouraging word. You sing. A discouraging word. I sing. And the skies are not cloudy all day. You sing. And the skies are not cloudy all day. I'm going to sing Home, Home on the Range where the deer and the antelope play. And you are going to do that whole line after me. Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play. Your turn. Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play. I'm going to sing the next line all the way to the end. Where seldom is heard a discouraging word, when the skies are not cloudy all day. All right, your turn. Where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Alright, so now let's sing the entire refrain. I will sing it, and then you will sing it. Home, home on the range, verse, and refrain together. Excuse me. One, ready, go. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam and the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Here comes the refrain. Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Kinder friends, so your assignment is a lot like last week, but instead of you having one artist and me giving you 2 songs and you telling me which one you like best, this week we're going to have one song sung by 2 different people. So we're going to do the song Respect by Aretha Franklin. You probably know it, and if not, you're gonna know it because it is a great song. So we're going to do that one, and then we're going to do Otis Redding's version of Respect, and you are going to listen to both of them. Tell me which one is your favorite and why, and that's it. It's pretty easy. All right, guys, see you next week.